2, Scene 2.
Hi guys, welcome to UJ APK SDASM's YouTube channel. So basically with this channel we hope to evangelize to as many people as possible. So the idea and concept for a YouTube channel for our SDASM basically rooted from the need for content for Adventist students, and not just Adventist students but Christian students who just want to grow spiritually. Sometimes I think that when we're on YouTube, you know, we are so into all these like asking for a friend or you know, topics on like whatever it may be it sex, money, love, relationships, and we cloud ourselves with a lot of information that really is not beneficial to our spiritual growth. So what we hope to achieve with this YouTube channel is basically evangelism, like to reach as many people as possible, to share the love of God with everyone, because we are proudly in love with Jesus and we are not afraid to share it. I think also just to share content and information and just discussions that are beneficial to your growth. I think you guys can relate when, you know, we have like afternoon programs or it's lunchtime on a Sabbath and we just have like so many discussions that are so fruitful for like our growth, but you know, we never ever like document it, and sometimes you'll be like, yeah, but I remember Demu said this, you know, that other time. So yeah, so I think this channel is just a place and a space for us to grow all together. We encourage you to interact with us as much as possible. We hope that from this project, many other projects like this across all SDASMs in South Africa will actually just pop up. You know, we shouldn't be silent. We are commissioned to spread the gospel. So us being silent and complacent is just not enough. Actually, our theme for the year is Revive Us Again. And that is what we'll be talking about today. I think before we do that, we shall have intros, because I am seated with lovely people here. And yeah, guys, take it away.
Okay, my name is Sonique Dulamo. Do I need to say what course I'm doing? Okay, my name is Sonique Dulamo and I am doing my second year in law.
Hi guys, my name is Wanga.
And what are you studying, Wanga?
I'm studying politics and development studies.
And I am Penelope, but everyone calls me Penny, and I am studying BCom Economics and Econometrics.
Hi guys. My name is Luitamokhelo Takhane, but I'm usually known as Demu. I'm a third year in BCom in Information and Knowledge Management.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is our discussion panel for the first video. You will be seeing many more videos like this, but yeah, different topics. But I think for today, like I mentioned before, we are discussing Revive Us Again, and I just want to ask, what does revival mean to you guys?
I'd say it's like, you know, if it's the concept of if something were like a plant, if a plant dies,
Yeah.
well, it's not completely dead, but it starts drying out, and then you pay more attention to it and water it and put it in sunlight more often, put it in the shade when it needs to be in the shade, and it starts to grow leaves again.
Yeah.
It starts to come back to life. I think that's the concept of revival, except with your spirituality. When your spirituality starts to dwindle a little and you start to, it doesn't become something that you're working on constantly. Revival is when you awaken it and you spend more time on it to grow it and make it something that's a strong part of your life, and people can see that you are a spiritual person and you spend time with God. So yeah.
So what do you guys think?
Just like Wanga put it about using a dead flower, you know, like if you plant a seed or like a flower, plant, when it grows, you give it all the nutrients it needs, all the water and sunlight, it will grow. But if you neglect it, these things, it will stop growing, it will die out. And I want to bring it to humanity that we have been planted as Christians, as lot of us have grown in the church, but some of us aren't being fed the content that will allow spiritual growth, and we die out. So the theme for revival, it comes in to try and awaken that flower, that plant, to come back to life and grow taller, and stronger, so that in case when it goes through tough times, it will be able to withstand, it will be rooted enough to handle all these challenges. And as the youth, we go through a lot of these challenges, especially in varsity, things that will allow us, that will want us to move backwards, that will try and kill us. So revival is very important as a youth. So that's why we are doing this YouTube channel, to bring the content that will allow revival to take place in our lives.
Okay, my view is not really different from the other 2-3 that were stated, but revival basically to me is basically bringing what's dead to life again. What's dead to life again, because as said, that we do go through a lot that drains us spiritually, do go through a lot of problems that will make you doubt God's existence, and probably a lot of things that will make us doubt whether we should continue believing, and make us doubt our faith and all the good that has been done for us. So reviving has to do with restoring our faith. Yes, basically bringing back what we have all lost.
I like that, but okay, so I have a question there. What happens when I find comfort in my dead state?
In a dead state?
Yeah. How do I, because sometimes I find that, okay, fine, we know that we're not where we're supposed to be with God, or we feel like there's a void, we feel like there's something that's lacking. But I'm content with it lacking. I never find the need to just open my Bible or kneel down and pray. I just find contentment in my dead state. So what would you say to the student who... This cat.
Guys, ginger.
Yeah,
It just meowed at you.
Yeah. Okay. So back to the question. The question is, what happens if I find contentment in my dead state? How do I address that?
I feel like when somebody finds contentment in their dead state, it also has to, a big part, according to what I believe to be right, is it happens usually when we also have the environment we're in, the things that influence us to be content in that dead state. Today there is so many things, like a lot might disagree with me when I say this, but even the very music we listen to, they support us being content in our dead state, because there's music that glamorizes depression and glamorizes lack of knowledge and stuff, the things that glamorize these things. And also again, when we assess the friends we hang out with, the environment that we're in, it might not be directly or visible, but there's very subtle things that they do that will induce us to be content in our dead state.
And I agree with Sonique's point that it's the environment that we're in and the people we surround ourselves with. And I think as much as you're content with your dead state, if you feel like you're not going to do anything about it, at least go to a place of worship. Because if you're surrounded by people that are constantly trying to fix their relationship with God, you realize that you also need to be in that state. And you hear other people around you that are your age and live in the same society that you do, and they have the exact same influences, but they're strong enough to get through them. And that, not always, but in most cases, it is bound to push you to try and fix your relationship with God and move and do better.
Okay, I hear what you guys are saying, man. I'm gonna try be problematic as possible because we all have the same mindsets, right? So I'm gonna try. We all have this. Yes, you're annoying, but what I'm gonna try to do is be a little problematic. So, what if I just feel that people? Okay, so I'm watching this video right now, and I'm seeing people who are probably my age talk about how they're trying to like better their relationship with God, and I just deem it as pretense. How do I then make my revival as authentic as possible?
I feel like, personally, I feel like we have to pray about it first. First and foremost, pray that you are guided along the right path when going on the journey of being revived. I feel like you should pray about it first and foremost, so that that's personally what I feel. You have to pray about it first.
Because sometimes I find that as students, we are, like you guys mentioned before, we are influenced so much by the people around us and their state of minds that sometimes it's easy just to go with the wind and get lost. So how do we cement ourselves in our faith and be like confident in our faith enough to see revival as possible? Because I think that's also another thing. People think that if something's dead, it genuinely is dead. So how do I find the hope in the possibility of revival?
But then that's the idea that people think when something is dead, it is dead. That's the cool part of believing in God, because Jesus died and he was not dead. Like, he died and he could have stayed dead, but he was not dead. He was still resurrected. And if you serve a God like that can conquer death in flesh, how can he not conquer the death of your spiritual growth, of your spirituality? Because if it's dead, he is capable of resurrecting it. And if he was willing to die for you, then there's nothing he's not willing to do to bring you back to the state that you should be in.
And just to add on to that point, that is like a really powerful and it's also, I feel like it's a personal choice. Like, are you, like, you can see that the environment you're in, you can see the people that influence you. You can see that they are diminishing your spiritual life. And if you really want to break away from it, you would have made an effort. Jesus already did his part by dying for us and giving us a second chance of life. What are you doing about your life? So it's not just also about giving it to God, but believing in yourself as well, that you can conquer whatever you go.
I think also because the theme is genuinely for not just for SDASM, but for individuals as well. And I think it is really important for us to understand that if we want revival in SDASM, we need to acknowledge that it starts with a revival within ourselves and within our own lives. Because so for me personally, because last year I was the first year, when I came to SDASM, so what I was told about SDASM was that you come to SDASM, it's a vibe, and you're going to meet your husband, and I'm telling you, that's what they say.
It's the waiting.
It's
the waiting.
So like that's what they told me. So I was like, okay, so I gotta dress cute, go to church, be there every step, especially when it's like big events, Yeah, so that's what I was told. And so I went with this mindset, but not necessarily with like I'm going to find my husband, but oh yeah, I just want to see the guys that are there, scout a bit. But I found something greater, which I think we should all be going to church for, which is Christ. Sometimes we think we have Christ, I thought I was fine, genuinely. And then I just realized that there are so many cracks in my faith, so many cracks in my relationship with God. And I was revived. Last year, my spirituality was revived. It went from 0 to 1,000 real quick, and I was so grateful for it. I can confidently say that the penny at the beginning of the year is definitely not the same penny at the end of the year, and that is what I would hope for everyone that is in SDASM, you know, that they never, if ever they did come to SDASM for all the wrong reasons like me, hopefully that something, whatever it is, it may be a discussion, it may be the singing, it may be the socials, it may be, you know, just the afternoon or your lunch conversations with people and just other people's minds, you know, because we have so many amazing minds in SDASM. Like, of course, I mean, look, you know, we have so many amazing minds in SDASM. And I what are some of the things that you guys love about SDASM?
Yeah, I have like a long list. SDASM is my favorite person on this, my favorite thing on this campus. I just called it a person. Wow. Okay. I love the family in SDASM. You can, it's like as soon as you get to SDASM, whatever happened during your week, whatever burdens were heavy on you, you can offload and you share them with everybody, and it becomes easier. You joke about it if you need to. They will comfort you if that's what you need. You know, it's like a family away from home. And for me, being with the fact that my family isn't actually here and they're far, it's always a nice thing to have a family that I can always go to. And aside from that as well, it's full of intellectuals. I love intellectual conversations, and we don't dissect things of the Bible and things of God in the mentality of it is what it is and this is what it is. Just read it and accept everything. You know, accept everything, but understand why you believe in this, and we discuss it, and everybody is allowed to give an opinion. And even if your opinion is wrong, you are corrected, but corrected with love.
Yes.
I love that about SDASM.
That's what I like.
I think just like going back on what you said, because sometimes you find that you know, you will just read scripture and you're not really understanding what is said, but you read it, you know it, you've memorized it, it's like a memory text, and then you get to SDASM and someone else will interpret it for you in a way that you never saw. And I think that's so beautiful. And like just going back to what you said about, you know, you having your opinion, I love that our opinions are always challenged, and if anything, it like really tests whether you understand what you have opinions on, you know. Like sometimes I think we, you know, especially when we have discussions like this, sometimes I find that a lot of people make comments on things that they're not knowledgeable about at all, but you know, they just want to make uneducated comments. And what SDASM has taught me is that really, if I want to claim that I am a feminist, but who's like, you know, upholds their Christian values as opposed to feminism, like let me be sure about what I'm saying, you know, let me really go in depth with what I am really claiming to be, you know. Yeah, so, and that's what I love about SDASM too, the intellectual conversations. What about you guys?
I love the friends I've made, the people I've met, and also going back on what Wanga said, that like when you share your opinion or belief, that you're not really corrected in a very offensive manner, but rather in a manner in which, with love of course, and also you not feeling judged for thinking the way you think. Also, because I mean, people do have reasons for thinking how they choose to think. Yes, so that's one of the main reasons I love being at SDASM.
Well, first of all, I love the food. Yeah, I love SDASM because like I met like so many amazing people who have been there for me, like in times where I know other people weren't there for me. You know, they've taught me how to express genuine love to other people. You know, the type of love that is recommended for Christians, you know, unconditional and everything. And like when you go to SDASM, you meet so many different people from so many different backgrounds, and you absorb so much information, you know, that allows you to kind of have much of an open mind and it also allows growth and it challenges you and stuff, you know. And since I joined SDASM, I feel like I'm part of a great.
I also love the fact that it's very easy to talk about a lot of problems that we encounter as like varsity students, and like, well, for some of us who aren't that old yet, teenagers encounter. Yeah, it's very easy to talk about it without being judged, because like, you know, sometimes when you be in your home church, you'd be scared to talk about these things because like there's elders there and stuff. So right now it's like very easy to just freely talk about these things.
Yeah, like sex and
Yeah.
dating and money and
Yes.
Yeah, no, definitely. What are some of the things you think affects SDASM's growth? What are some of the things you think affect our growth, and hence us, you know, even in like intervening with the theme of revive us again? What are some of the things that contribute to us dying out?
I feel like it's personal attitudes of people, honestly, because I won't lie, just as not everybody who seems to be Christian or Adventist doesn't mean that they're really happy doing what they do. So also their personal attitudes towards it, I feel it contributes to us dying out, because if you have it set in your mind that I do not enjoy what I am doing or what I am being, we basically end up steering away from the church and being attracted to other things, which might not be wrong in others' eyes, but I mean, like, if you are considering your spiritual growth, you would know what's best for you. So I feel like it's the personal attitudes that we've engraved in our hearts that contribute to us dying out.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's two things. The first thing, I think it's not being of service to God, not serving God. I think that makes people stagnant. And you know, when we had our opening for the year, we did spiritual gifts in the afternoon program, and I think it was a really cool activity because it helped me figure out what I am good at, what are my spiritual gifts, and how I can use that to help the church, you know. Because sometimes people say, no, I don't have any talents, I don't have any gifts, I have nothing to contribute, and that is total lies, you know. Total lies. Like, everyone has something that they're good at, everyone has that thing that they can contribute to the work of God. So I think just people not serving, period, is a big problem. Because, you know, sometimes you find that you'll ask someone to do something and they're just like, no, I don't want to do it, or no, I'm not going to be here, no, I'm going home. You know, all these excuses are made. So I think that is definitely a thing that hinders our growth. The second thing I think would be not accepting rebuke. You know, rebuke is a tough pill to swallow, but it's necessary. And I think if we don't engrave God's law and God's principles in our hearts, we really will wander astray, you know. And principle and law, like, it brings us back in line. Because I think also just not loving principle, not loving God's law is not loving God. And it's problematic. And I think sometimes we find a lot of people who want to nitpick what they want to follow, and not accept it in its entirety, and I think that's a problem. What about you guys?
And I agree with both your points. And another challenge as well is falling to the temptations of the world. So it's, as a young person, there's a lot of things that are exciting happening, and when you start to feel like, you know, maybe church is not exciting for me and all my friends are going out and I'm still, you know, I have to show up for Sabbath opening, but I really want to go do this as well. And it's, if you do it often enough, it becomes a trap, and then it becomes a routine that Sabbath opening starts to become irrelevant to you. Like, it's just one or it's just two, and then eventually you fall into the trap that it becomes a constant thing where you don't even remember that you have Sabbath opening anymore. And then on top of that as well, if you're falling into the trap, having a week prayer routine. If you're not praying enough and there's a lot of things attacking you, the devil has put up a strong attack on young people because young people are the future of the church. So the strong attack, if you're not praying to keep yourself as safe as possible, you're very prone to falling for it. And the devil is a lot smarter and better at this than we will ever be. So if you're not praying enough, where you need God to be your warrior for this, and it's very easy to just fall and lose your faith and fall into the trap of the devil.
Adding on to that, it's very common that a lot of us lean on our own understanding and stuff, and then that's the easiest way to be led astray by the devil, because we think we know, but we don't really think about the factors influencing us to think the way we think.
Just as well as saying, like, we're speaking in the context of, like, SDASM. So it's a student movement here in institutions, like university institutions. So some people, they finish high school and they come here and they're exposed to so much freedom. And we know that things that tend to diminish our spiritual life, they look so attractive, they look so good, they look so appealing. And when you come to university, you're still trying to find yourself. So you meet new friends who come from different backgrounds, friends who weren't exposed to any spiritual life, and they can influence you to that life of going out and stuff, and not paying attention to your spiritual growth. So it's also about understanding that when you come to varsity, what is it that you came for in the first place, and who are you? You need to make sure that the roots that were given to you by your parents, your home, that you bring them with you here, and nothing will shake you.